Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. In the last part, we started exploring the third world, the Witchy World, and in this part, we're going to continue that exploration into the other sections of the park. Now, I'm not sure if I went over this. Actually, I am sure that I did not went over this. The park is separated into four main sections. There's the Big Top, there's the Western area, the Haunted area, the space area, and then there's the intro area that nobody gives a shit about. There's a couple of different attractions in each of the different areas, like there's a couple of different things to do in the space area, there's a couple of different things to do in the haunted area, etc, etc, etc. However, you can't exactly do all of the stuff in one area all at once. You kind of have to go back and forth, because there's certain things in areas that you need to get in order to get things in the other areas. Like, for example, Humba is in this western area, and you need to use her in order to do more stuff in the spooky area, and so on and so forth. So you're going to be going back and forth a whole lot, but thankfully with warp pads, and just the fact that this is one of the smaller levels in the game anyway, you shouldn't have too much trouble with that. Anywho, that Jiggy that we just got there is one of those, one of those carnival games where you've got the hammer and you gotta slam it really hard on the thing, but it never works because carnival games are bullshit. Basically what you have to do is you have to do three different moves. You have to do the beak bash, which is just jumping and pressing the Z button. You have to do the bill drill, which is jumping and holding down the Z button, and then you gotta do the use a grenade egg. You can do those attacks in any order that you want, so like you could do grenade egg, bill drill, beak bash, beak dash, grenade egg, bill drill, etc, etc, etc. You just have to use those three different moves, and it has to be different because that's just the specific combination you need to use in order to beat that minigame. I'm pretty sure it's coded so that you cannot actually use the same move over and over again, which would, I guess, kind of make sense. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. If a grenade egg worked the first time, why wouldn't it work the second time? You know, it's a fucking explosion. That shit is massive. You know, why would... Yeah, you know what, I'm calling bullshit. Why can't you just use the same thing over and over? You know, why? Huh? Anyway, up there, that's Humbawumba's wigwam. Actually, the first time I played the game, I sort of missed it because it's sort of out of the way there. But you're going to want to at least get the warp pad up there activated just so that you have easy access to it later. Because, you know, jumping through all of those hoops in order to get up there takes forever, and you don't want to deal with that shit. Anywho, these are the split-up pads. Finally, we're taking advantage of these things. All you have to do is press the A button on the pad, and then Kazooie and Banjo will split up. If the name wasn't already obvious with you already. Anywho, if you want to switch, all you have to do is press the A button on a pad, or a swap cloud, which is this little bunch of glowing lights. Anywho, when they're separate at first, these characters are pretty damn pathetic. Like, Kazooie doesn't have a normal attack when she's separate. I mean, she can still shoot her eggs. That's pretty cool. But other than that, she's pretty damn useless. So you're not going to want to spend too much time split up at this point in the game. Like right here, those little glowy lights, that's a swap cloud. But anyway, yeah, when you first start off, these characters, when they're split up, are pretty damn useless. You've got like half of the abilities from one, half the abilities of the other, and none of the stuff that requires you to use them together, so yeah, you're pretty damn screwed. Also, new enemy here, those are Minjos, arch enemy of the Jinjos. Basically, they're just masquerading as Jinjos, and you have no clue whether or not they're real or not real. However, there's a very, very easy way to tell whether or not they are fake or real. Basically, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is, and it's a Minjo. Also, it changes its color every single time you get too close to it. So, if you, like, enter the room, don't get the Jinjo, and then come back, and it's a different color, it's a Minjo. Don't fall for that shit. But now that we talked to Gem Jars, we have the Pack Whack, which is basically pressing the B button, and then you can get a normal attack with Banjo. Funny thing though, there is a glitch. If you press the A button while you're doing a Pack Whack, you can pretty much double jump with the Banjo, and you can use that to sequence break the shit out of some sort of situations. I'm not gonna take advantage of it too much. I mean, I might use it for like faster traveling or just making a jump easier, but I'm not doing any real sequence breaking in this game. I think I do like one minor example of sequence breaking late in the game, but other than that, it's just I'm not doing anything super major in order to skip something here. I'm trying to make this playthrough as legitimate as possible. However, if you don't have a conscience like me, because you're terrible, terrible people and you should feel bad, no, I'm just kidding, but if you don't mind sequence breaking, you can use that to cheat your way to plenty of jiggies before you're supposed to get them. I'm not sure where you would be able to sequence break with that, because most of the time I like to be legit and just get it the normal way, so I don't even know most of the sequence breaking tricks in this game. But if you want to do a sequence breaking trick, that's one of the most important ones to know, is the pag-whack double jump. Anyway, we're in the crazy crazy castle. And this is the first such example of what we will see in a lot of in Witchy World. Minigames! Because it's a carnival themed level, and of course in a carnival themed level we gotta have lots and lots of carnival game based minigames. Anywho, this minigame formula that we're going through right now is going to be reused a lot in later minigames, so remember this. Basically, whenever you're doing a minigame, you want to get as much points as possible, whether it's shooting targets or jumping through hoops or whatever. Basically, you want to always go for blue ones. Blue ones are always worth 3 points, green ones are always worth 2 points, red ones are always worth 1 point. That's how it is in every single minigame that you will play in this game. So remember that, live it, love it, breathe it, smell it, swim in it. And once you really get that down, all of the minigames in this game are really, really simple. It's just a matter of focusing on blues and greens first, and trying to get through as many reds as possible on your way. It's a super simple formula for every single minigame, and I actually appreciate that, because these minigames are actually a lot of fun to me. For the first part, it's just I love the minigame music. It's called Fun and Games, and it's absolutely fucking awesome. But I also like how a lot of the minigames are basically just the same goal, but with a different method of completing that goal every single time. It's enough variety that, you know, each minigame does feel distinct. Like, doing like a target shooting minigame, even if it is the same red, green, blue point system, feels very different than that hoop minigame, because, you know, it's a completely different type of challenge. But because the rules are similar enough in every single minigame, every minigame does feel similar enough that you can just jump in without having to read the slow rules thing every single time. So I do like that aspect of these minigames. And also, you know, the music kicks ass, and there's not enough that you can say about that that'll make something a lot more enjoyable. You know, it's just like, if the music is good, you can almost forget a lot of bad things about it. Not that the minigames are bad, mind you. The minigames, I think, are fun and nice distraction for the most part. I mean, even if you fail it the first time, what, you gotta, like, try again? It's just, like, 1 minute. Jesus, people, if you can't, it's not that long. I don't see why anybody would really have a problem with these minigames. I like them, and I think that they're nice and fun, and they get the TED seal of decent. Like, I'm not gonna say that they're the best minigames ever created, but I enjoy them, and that's what matters, so yes. Anyway, there is a minigame in the Crazy Castle that requires both Banjo and Kazooie, but however, we cannot do that minigame just yet because we need another power-up that is in this level, so we are going to do that later. The power-up is in Spaceland, though, but I didn't want to go to Spaceland just yet, because there's a couple of things I wanted to unlock in Spaceland that require me to go to the Western Land first, and if I'm going to go to the Western Land first, I might as well do what I can while I'm there, you know? But anyway, the reason why we couldn't get all the stuff in Spaceland when we first get there is that we have to take this cable car over, oh god damn it, fucking Castlevania knockback shit. Anyway, you see that little cable car swinging off in the distance on that rope? We need to get that before we can get everything in Spaceland, because there's like a platform that you can only reach with this cable car. So, before I could do anything in Spaceland, or before I wanted to try even starting with Spaceland, I wanted to make sure that I had this cable car so I can just reduce the backtracking. So yes, once you press the button, I recommend grip grabbing over the rope, even though I'm pretty sure you can walk over it. But I recommend grip grabbing over the rope and then jumping onto the button. But once you press the button, you can use the cable car to go over to Spaceland anytime you want. You should only ever really need to use this cable car the one time, because once you take it over that first time, you'll go over to Spaceland, and then once you're really up there, you don't ever really need to use the cable car ever again. Thankfully, however, if you do want to use the cable car multiple times, they cut out this long animation after the first time, so it'll just like go a couple seconds and then it'll jump cut over here. So, you know, thankfully they understood that the spectacle of watching the cable car is really only impressive the first time, and then they cut that shit out for the rest of the game. That's what I want to say. They cut it out for the rest of the game. Anyway, another reason why it was a good idea to take the cable car over first. Once you get Mumbo, and his ability will involve turning the power on in certain spaces. If you turn the power on in Spaceland before you take the cable car, you gotta deal with electric shocks on that grab platform, and that's annoying. So that's why I generally want to take care of this shit before I get Mumbo done. Although you do have to go to Western Land in order to get the Mumbo anyway, because you need to use Humba in order to get the Mumbo. These people have two similar names. It's getting my tongue tied every fucking episode. But yes, you need to use Humba in order to get to Mumbo, so you might as well just do this before you even start with him anyway. Anywho, do you remember this guy? Well, you should, because we only talked to him like 2 parts ago. Anywho, the Saucer of Peril is the thing in that box that we saw over in Glitter Gulch Mine. If you wanted to get the Saucer of Peril out into Witchy World, not only do you have to press the button in Witchy World itself, but you had to use the Dynamite Pack in order to blow up those rocks, because that was keeping the Saucer of Peril from coming back home. So yes, you're going to want to make sure that you do that in order to unlock the Saucer of Peril, because that's another mini-game which not only gives you a Jiggy, but a Cheeto page, so that's good to know. Anywho, here we have finally finished our first Jinjo family. Even though it was the white Jinjo, which is just one part of the family. You know, why couldn't he just walk home? I mean, seriously, it's not like he has to look for his family members, although I don't get why all the other Jinjos aren't walking around looking for their family members, but that's beside the point. You know, this is just one guy. Why do we need to take him back home? I mean, seriously. What the fuck, dude? Anywho, completing a family, no matter how big or small it is, will always give you 1 Jiggy. So depending on how lucky you get with Jinjos, you could potentially have a much higher Jiggy rate than I have right now. Like here, I've only found one Jinjo family in the entire game. However, depending on how lucky you guys get, like if you get a lot of the early families in the early levels of the game, like, you know, you get the white Jinjo first. I've actually found the white Jinjo first in a playthrough before. Like the white Jinjo, I'm pretty sure the yellow Jinjo. If you get a lot of those families first, you could potentially have like 3 or 4 more Jinjos than I do at this point. But for the most part, they're just sort of a wild card. Like, you'll start to see the effects of finding the Jinjos late in the game once you start clearing up a whole bunch of families at once. Because generally how it works is you'll have, like, about half of the Jinjo families, of all the Jinjo families at any given time for most of the game. Until you get to the very end, once you start clearing everything up, and you'll start getting, like, Jiggies left after right, one after another, I guess is the better metaphor to use there. But you'll start getting lots and lots of Jiggies from Jinjos late in the game, because that's really once you start filling out most of the families in the game, you know? Anywho, I could have taken care of this earlier, but I didn't for some reason. Humba's, what the fuck is that thing called? Globo. Humba's Globo is in her hut, so you can take care of this basically whenever the fuck you want to. But going into Humba's Wigwam turns us into the van, which is one of the most badass transformations in the game because it does not have a health bar. It is fucking invincible to everything, and I mean everything. The van, fucking badass. So you're going to want to use it for a couple of different things. First off, the van is the only one who can open those van doors. And basically the van doors hide a couple of different things behind them, so you're going to want to take care of those. Also, being invincible has its perks because it means taking out those little cash register things is not a problem at all. I mean, I think you can take care of them with grenade eggs if you want to, but it's just so much easier just to take care of it as the van because, you know, he's invincible, and you come across most of them on the way anyway, so, you know what, that's pretty cool. And also, the last thing that the van can do is pay for attractions. Yes, Grunty is one of those assholes who makes you pay to go on certain rides in Roller Coaster Tycoon. I mean, I did that too, but that's pretty much because it was the only way to make money in the fucking game. I mean, I was the guy who would put, like, 25 cent price costs on the toilet in that game, so you know what? Maybe I'm not really the best to judge, but yeah, you have to pay in order to enter certain attractions. Like, for example, this is the Inferno, I think, and you need to pay to go into here. And there's a couple of other things that you need to pay to go into, but this is one of the most important ones, because this doesn't just unlock some mini-game. It unlocks Mumbo's hut, which is super important. However, this is one thing that sort of bugs me about Witchy World, because this is one of those levels that I can't just get everything with Wumba done all at once. I actually have to leave the van, turn back into Banjo, go back to Mumbo, and then turn on some of the attractions. But then after that, I actually have to pay for them as the van before I can use it. Meaning I basically have to turn into the van twice, which is kind of fucking annoying. It's not really that big of a deal, because once you know what you need to do, it's pretty quick. Because again, you know, Warp Pad's relatively small level, it doesn't really take too much of my time. But still, this is one of those levels where I wish it was designed around replayability a little bit better, where you could basically take care of everything at once, you know? I mean, when you're first playing the game, you're probably swapping between forms pretty damn often anyway, so it wouldn't bother you too much then. But for the repeat playthroughs, it's just like, ugh, I don't want to transform back into the van. I want to just be able to do all of that shit at once, you know? Again, minor nitpick, but it's just worth saying. Anyway, those 4 tickets that we got there, we need those in order to enter the big top, and you'll find out why you need to enter the big top later on. But, you know, just so you know, you do have to get all of those in order to enter the big top, where something special happens. I'll just say that. Like here, the Dodgem Dome. That's that that's this one attraction right there. You have to use Mumbo in order to turn on the electricity, and then you have to turn back into the van in order to pay for the attraction, which I think is just kind of bullshit. But you know, it's not that big of a deal. You know, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over having to backtrack through that. So you know what? It's not too bad. You know, that's just what I'm saying. But anyway, besides that repeat trip back into the Dodgem Dome, all you have to really do is just get all 4 tickets, and then go through all of those doors and pay for everything with the van. You know, you can get everything that you need to get done with the van in like 3 minutes. So, you know, you're not spending too much time with this thing, but, you know, it's just worth saying. Anyway, next part we're going to continue exploring the 3rd level. Yeah. We're basically just going to keep on exploring Witchy World. I don't remember what exactly we're doing while we're exploring Witchy World, but basically the gist of it is we're exploring Witchy World. I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.